I would like to extend warm welcome to Honorable Vice Chairman ETIO, senior officers from ETIO, Senior Advisor Agriculture, senior officers from World Food Program, distinguished speakers, jury members, experts from agriculture universities, state and center, Ataris, and experts from embassies and UN agencies. A very warm welcome to all. I would like to invite you to the release of the Compendium of Millet Mainstreaming in India. As we are aware that 2023 was celebrated as the International Year of Millets, Niti Aayog has done its part in collaboration with World Food Program along with many other activities. So a very warm welcome to everyone. So starting today's program for the release of the compendium, I would now request Dr. Neelam Patel, Senior Advisor Agriculture, for the formal welcome address.
A very good morning to all and who have gathered today here, and also all the officers who have joined online, particularly the state government officers, universities, and also the Krishi Vigyan Kendra, and also Ataris, UN agencies, and Honorable Vice Chairman Niti Aayog, Shri Shuman Bedi sir, Ms. Elizabeth, Dr. Rajeshwar Chandra, who is the Vice Chancellor from NOMI, and also our Farmer Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Sanjay sir, and now he is working as a Additional Director General at AgriSet, and our esteemed jury members who have helped us to finalize and select the stories from the ground, not only from India but outside also. Led by Dr. S.K. Patnaik, who was our Farmer Secretary, and Dr. C. Vasudeva Appa, who is the Farmer Vice Chancellor of National Institute for Food Technology, Entrepreneurship and Management, NIFTEM.
Thank you.
Ms. Subha Thakur, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Sri Devi Annapurna Singh, Director, Center Food Technological Research Institute under the CSIR. Dr. R. Hemlata, Director, National Institute of Nutrition. Chef Manjeet Singh Gill, Indian Federation of Ecology Association, and Ms. Pradhanya Pathankar, Head of the Unit Climate Change Resilient Food System, DRRWFP, and entire WFP team, my colleagues from the Niti Aayog, and it is my honor and privilege to welcome you all in this occasion. This was much awaited since long time. The compendium is having the millet mainstream in India, Asian and African countries, a compendium of inspiring success stories from the field. So, sir, first I would like to thank VC because he has to travel from other meeting for this program, sir. And he has been constant inspiration and motivation for us to work in the area of millet mainstreaming, and particularly with the UN agencies, so that we can share the India's best stories with the other countries and we can scale it up. Thank you, sir, for being with us, particularly in this morning. I also would like to welcome Ms. Elizabeth, Country Director WFP. Her personal support and the support of WFP team to complete a compendium is really very remarkable. And I also would like to thank again all the jury members, all the people, those who have joined today in this particular morning. And our effort is here, since we have got the very inspiring story from the field, with the help of AgriSet and with the help of WFP, how we can replicate these success stories in other countries also beyond 2024. So, sir, your presence is needed very much after beyond the national year, international year of millet. Sir, with this, because we are having very less time, I will not take much time. And I welcome you all, particularly people, those who have joined online in such a large number. I am seeing Dayakar Rao, who is CEO of the Military Hub, besides other senior people from the field. Thank you. Thanks from my side and from the behalf of Niti Aayog to all of you.
Thank you, Neela ma'am. Taking forward the agenda, I would now request Ms. Pradhanya Petkar, Head of Unit Climate Change, Resilient Food Systems and DRRP World Food Program for the introduction to the compendium.
Sure, thank you so much. The presentation.
So in fact, I'm really honored and privileged to share this remarkable journey of the entire compilation of this Millet's Compendium, which actually has been quite well thought through. It took quite a bit of time and efforts, but then at the end of it, when we are releasing it, I have a sense of fulfillment that there is a good job that is actually done with huge support from across the country as well as from the international communities as well. So while we are actually releasing this compendium, it actually was called as a mapping and exchange of good practices, specifically because we actually intend to have this exchange facilitated not just within the states of India but also outside India. So next slide please. There is no need to really talk about the background of this because we have been through this International Year of Millets and there has been a lot, in fact, which is being said that India actually as a leader of the Millets Initiative, right from declaration of 2023 as International Year of Millets with highest production as well as the intent, not just from the perspective of the nutrition, but also from the perspective of the climate resilience of this millets and then the potential that it is actually a crop of future. So the objective was this of this entire millets mainstreaming was to support exchange of best practices for millets mainstreaming, especially in Asia and Africa. And Niti Aayog and WFP, we have a kind of agreement which was signed. And as a part of that agreement, in July 2022, this initiative was launched. We launched a website so that people can actually submit their case stories. And then we actually can compile the initiative at various levels, and that can be replicated for more from the perspective of millets promotion. Next slide, please. So as a part of this entire journey, the first step was to really create a framework. And the framework constituted of two main aspects. So the first one was the millets value chain, which is usually known. We have the 6 components from production to storage, transportation to processing to packaging and branding, distribution and consumption. However, the most important thing from the millets mainstreaming perspective was also looking at the enabling factors that actually can really help in millets mainstreaming. And these factors included institutional commitment and coordination, sustainability and innovative financing, multi-stakeholder partnership, then enabling environment for enhanced production and inclusion in safety nets, and then of course gender and inclusion. So what the way we actually looked at it was like it's not just the value chain but also what are the enabling factors that actually can sustain this value chain and can expand it over a period of time. So this framework was something which was in fact developed jointly with Niti Aayog, and then this formed the basis of the entire initiative. Next slide please. So using this as a kind of the main framework, I'll just give a quick snapshot of the journey and the process timelines. So the entry categories, they were actually mapped to these aspects, the millets value chain, millets mainstreaming, and then there was a need for millets recipes as well to really look for not just the Indian and traditional recipes but also something which actually will be palatable for the international audience. And so from that perspective, the categories for call for submission actually had these 3 main aspects. The eligibility and inclusion criteria was like the geography was, as I said, African and Asian countries. Organizations and practitioners actually were from the range right from the government to non-government, multilateral and bilateral agencies, the community level organizations including FPOs, SHGs, PACs, cooperatives, private sector and startups, and individuals. And the interventions actually essentially conceptualized and implemented in one of the above geographies. The exclusion criteria, of course, were those which are not fulfilling this inclusion criteria, solutions which are at the conceptual stage, which don't have really been implemented or have produced any results so far. So those were not considered for this entire analysis. Next. So in fact, I mean, how to really popularize it to really get those kinds of submissions. So there was a lot of outreach which actually was done. So the first thing was to have the state level interaction. So we had the state level 5 to 6 meetings with different regions, and these actually were to orient the people on what the initiative is and how they can help get those kinds of stories, they get people to really think about how they can submit. There were lots of, in fact, interactions with NRLM, the SHGs, all of them were actually part of it. Ministry of Food Processing Industries for the ODOP millets initiatives, they were also part of it. Invest India and startups, there was a separate consultation done with them to orient them and encourage them to participate. NRAA and then RRA, the Revitalizing Rainfed Agriculture, they were also part of the consultations. So separate consultations with the community level organizations. ICRI sat for international case studies. There was a huge, interaction which was done. Ministry of DARE and KVK's NCUI, WFP and its headquarter and multiple states as well. There was an interaction to really promote and engage those people. So this entire thing actually really helped us to reach a large number of consultations and large number of participants. Which in fact also elicited a lot of entries from variety of people and variety of institutions and participants. Next, please. So the criteria for evaluation was also in fact finalized and promoted at the same time. The first and foremost is like the innovation, so novelty of the solution. The second is practicality, like whether it is able to address the significant current emerging needs. The third important aspect was gender and inclusion, whether it in fact not just the women participation but also includes the most marginalized communities, whether it has produced the impact, potential to improve the outcomes at scale, and the last one was the sustainability, that whether the solution has a sustainability from the perspective of public and private systems. Next, please. So a panel of juries was constituted. It was chaired by Dr. Shobana Patnaik, and I'm happy that he is part of this consultation. He has joined online. The members, as Dr. Patel described, so we had eminent members of juries, right from Dr. Chindi Vasudevappa to Shubha Thakur to Shri Devi Madam from the CFTRI, Dr. Hemlata from National Institute of Nutrition, Chef Manjit Gill, I think he was supposed to be here.
He is here.
Oh, right. Great. So we had this eminent panel of juries, and of course the member secretaries from Niti Aayog and WFP were like us. Next, please. So this panel of juries actually, this was launched on 19th of July, and then there was a series of these consultations, and then the last date of submission was mentioned. There was first meeting of juries on the 8th of February, and then followed by that, based on those directions, the team worked on shortlisting the stories. Then there was a second review by juries in the month of June, where the further discussion and finalization based on the criteria was done. And then there was a design and finalization of the compendium, and today we are actually seeing the release of this compendium. Next, please. Yeah, so just a bit of snapshot on the entries we received. So we have received total 227 case stories, which were either from online or through email. Most of the stories were from the millets value chain, which was 147. Millets mainstreaming was 19, and 42 case stories on the millet recipes. However, the compendium at this point in time does not include the millet recipes. If we see the geographic spread, so we have received 9 entries from Asian and African countries, and the rest of the stories were from India. Quite understandably so, because India is the main hub of promoting the millets. We also saw that a lot of interest and case stories are from the field level organizations, FPOs, SHGs, PACs. Government as well participated pretty enthusiastically. NGOs have contributed, private sector startups as well have represented. There were some individual as well as multilateral entities as well who have participated, and there are traditional and indigenous community practices, which was one very interesting story from Sikkim. There was as I said, that there was a selection criteria which was finalized. So based on that, we actually shortlisted the stories. So out of 227 entries submitted, final compendium now comprises of 72 stories, out of which 58 stories are from millet value chain and 14 stories from millets mainstreaming, which is quite interesting because these are the stories on mainstreaming which talk about the initiatives such as the promotion of the millets production, the policies, the institutional mechanisms, funding, or even including in MSP and those sorts of things, so which are quite important and are in a way of learning for the rest of the states as well as countries. Other Asian and African countries case stories, we received the case stories from Eastern and South Africa, Western and Central Africa, Burkina Faso and Bangladesh. So now that we have this compiled compendium, the way forward we actually look at is the good practices from Asian and African countries highlighted in this compendium. They offer diverse learning opportunities for millets integration for diverse stakeholders. The governments, NGOs, we have seen the range of stakeholders, the startups, the cooperatives, and there is a lot of interest, which in fact is a key for this entire initiative. So the ground level stories, they underscore the existing capacities of these stakeholders, presenting a compelling case for revitalizing millets in the global food system. So this in a way gives a kind of confidence that the overall social mobilization and the participants, so global food systems actually can be really important, and this has actually given us that confidence. So now actually just to sum up, going forward from here, so we actually really feel that this presents a potential scope for systematic mapping of the needs of the countries through a study maybe for increased opportunity for South-South collaboration, the exchange within the country and uptake of millets aligned to these initiatives of Maharishi, which actually came up from G20. And especially when we are talking about now that the 2023 International Year of Millets is over, really paving a way forward for how to really take it beyond 2023 and 24. So that is what we have at this point in time. So thank you so much. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you, Pragya. It's an excellent example of bringing 72 diverse success stories together. Taking forward the agenda for today's discussion, we have our eminent guests, special invitees who are with us. So we'll be starting with the views. I will request Dr. Rajeshwar Chandel. Good afternoon, Dr. Chandel. Sir, can you hear us? Dr. Rajeshwar Chandel is Vice Chancellor, NOMI.
Yes, Tanu, I can introduce myself. No issue, Tanu. I'm the Vice Chancellor of Dr. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes. So shall I start, Tanu?
Yes, sir, please.
So Honorable Vice Chairman Niti Ayog, Honorable Member Agriculture Dr. Neelam Patel, all present dignitaries from Niti Ayog. Really, I am today elevated and honored that I've been invited to be the part of this very distinguished program on mainstreaming millets after the completion of this International Year of Millets. Certainly, we are sitting in this part of Himalaya, which is the hub of millets. Still, we have the traditional seeds. We have the traditional storage system with the farmers. Farmers are still interested to grow, and it is the part of their daily food system. But unfortunately, with the introduction of these high value crops, in Himachal Pradesh, what we saw that there was 89% decrease in the area and the production due to the entry of the many cash crops like apple, which enhanced to the rate of 856% during the last 25 years. But nothing is still lost. As having said that, we have the farmers, we have the knowledge, we have the seed system, and still there is a interest in growing and having the cuisines, having the different products from the uh, different kinds of the millets. Still in Himachal Pradesh, farmers are growing 18 kinds of the millets. So in the last year, we organized different programs through university, like student involvement through various programs, then some publications, then faculty students millet farmer interactions, then creating of the millet garden. Then we could not, although we plan to create a certificate course on millet, still this is in the progress. Then value addition. My university is also working very aggressively to have different kind to produce different millet based products through Department of the Food Science. Then we tried to expose the farmers to those areas which are still having the diverse kind of the millets. Then now next issue is how to bring these farmers under the domain of the groups, then clusters, and ultimately into the farmer producer organizations. Because the threat with us is that the seed, because nobody wants to go for the seed production of the millets. When our farmers, they compare with the cash crops like apple, other temperate fruits or off-season vegetables, they don't see a prospective income from the seeds of the millet. So the first priority I would like to request to have that how to value this seed, how to institutionalize this seed, how to create the value chain in the seed system, because we have the resilient varieties which the farmers have for the last many hundreds and hundreds of years background. So unless we value this seed, we bring this seed of the farmers into certification system, then farmer, they have still the knowledge and the capacity to rotate this seed, to circulate this seed within the peer farmers. So unless the seed is certified, this is not valuing to them. And can we approach to the NAVAD also, because we have, our focus is natural farming. So I'm sure that we'll try to make it a important millet as important component of the natural farming systems. So in that way, we have 1.7 lakh farmer families in Himachal Pradesh who are undergoing the natural farming. So they can be brought, they can be involved in the growing of the millets as a part of natural farming systems. So NAVAD can be because NAVAD is already working with the university to create the farmer producer company based on the natural farmers. So we can approach the NAVAD to help us supporting the farmer producer organizations based only on the millet farmers. So my university would be very happy to be the part of this collaboration, this knowledge sharing in future. Thank you very much, Niti Ayog. This is all from my side to present here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. So going forward, now I would request Shri Sanjay Agarwal. Sanjay sir is 1984 batch Indian Administrative Service Officers from UP cadre. He was also the former secretary of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare and currently is Assistant Director General ICRISAT. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Honorable Vice Chairman, Niti Ayog, Elizabeth, Country Director, WFP, Neelam Patel, Senior Advisor, Pudinna, Chef Gill, and all the distinguished participants. First, I'd like to compliment Niti Ayog and WFP for bringing out the compendium. I think it lay a foundation for knowledge exchange of the good practices and operation of good practices across the. Secondly, I'd like to also compliment the way International Fair of Millets activities were done by Government of India taking a lead. It started with productivity conference, a global conference where a large number of ministers of countries where millets is growing, especially African countries were there. And then followed up by the chef conferences, machinery conferences, and Asian conferences. And I was part of Ministry of Agriculture at that time when this concept by the Prime Minister came in, why not to move for International Millets 2023. The purpose at that point of time, the thought behind its mind was, unless the demand side increases and the demand comes in, farmers will not be able to get that amount of money. And if the farmers get the right amount of price money for the millets, they will be going for millets production. And if you see different years which have been celebrated by for different crops, vegetable crops and other things were there, I think demand side massive increase in terms of potential. And I am part of ICRISAT, which is a global institution related to millets, where large number of countries, participants get touch with what are the benefits, how to get supply chain, and major demand side increases come in. And if you see the products which have been launched during this year, is beyond imagination. We have millets milk now, millets ice cream now, and startups to the range of producing large number of producers from breakfast cereals, and even the startups which have come in, which is good business in terms of baby food related to millets. So large number of varieties have come in, and major demand side increase have come in. And in fact, Niti Ayog makes analysis in terms of the price which the farmers have got because of this demand side increase. I think there's a very positive aspect regarding the aspect. I have to make a talk regarding what is beyond international millets, what needs to be done, and that is a discussion point right now because international millets 2023 is over, but it is going to continue till 4th of March. What needs to be done beyond that? Now, because major startups have come in, the supply side is a major challenge, and getting a short supply of a good quality, right quality millets is a very important aspect which needs to be looked into. So two broad strategies needs to be worked on this aspect. One could be horizontal, one could be vertical. Vertical meaning increasing area. If you see last 50 years, if I talk of India, there has been a decrease of area by 56%. Though the production have increased from 11.3 million tons to 13.3 million tons because of increased productivity, but 56 farmers have left this thing. So how can we rope in new farmers for millet production, especially now because the farmers will be getting a new better price and new varieties come in. So that could be one part of the strategy. Second major part of the strategy is required is, and in fact the knowledge sharing could be, large number of seed varieties have been launched by different institutions. If we talk of ICRISAT where I'm working, ICRISAT of the past have launched around 700 plus new varieties, hybrid varieties, good varieties of millets. But actually they have not gone to the field. The farmer who is doing the farming of millet farming in Rajasthan, whether he or she is aware of the what is the right level of millet quantity is aware, and large number of private sector did not come in for production of seed variety because that demand side increase for seed was not there. It's a more of traditional seed being used. So how can we rope in the knowledge of the research institutions with the field, so farmers and the state agencies are able to know what type of varieties available in research thing, and they can bring it to the production system, and production system being brought by the concept of seed village, FPOs, cooperatives. So how can we bring the seed value chain, this aspect, that is side of production system which needs to be looked into. Second, value addition aspect, and large number of startups which have come in and large number of products which have come in require lots of machinery, and especially for small millets, machinery availability at the field at local decentralized level for primary processing is the most important critical need is there. How can we take as a part of policy matter small machineries, required machinery, especially for small millets and millets at the field, so the farmers can do the private processing and take it forward. Actually, the processing of millet product can take place. So that technologies of the field reaching there for the machinery is most important aspect for this thing. FPO is a good important program. We have FPO, people have talked about FPOs, dedicated FPOs to ensure supply chain of millets to the producers, a large number of startups which are coming. That can be one of very good aspects for this thing. Biofortification, though millets have a nutrition value and large amount of zinc, iron, everything is there, but biofortification of millets is also being developed. In fact, CRISAT is doing biofortification of pearl millets and sorghum and stress in terms of research aspect for biofortification addition for the millets, enhancing further nutritional value of millets so that further streamline we are also the thing. One of the very positive aspects of millets have been, and Chef Gill is there and he's very active in most of the conference I've seen him there, is creating a recipe books, in fact recipe books for n number of participants, n number of channels have been coming. So how do you take this nutrition value, this thing, and especially processing and preparing chapatis in household perspective, that aspect needs to be something. And in this context, I will bring it to light the concept which was talked about with the also in a presentation is a Maharishi concept. In fact, people must be aware as a part of G20, India took initiative of millets and ancient grains international research initiative as a part of there is a statement is there, and that is supposed to house in IMR, and this initiative is to look into part of knowledge exchange of different parts of millets, what practitioners are there, what best research has been done, and do the gap analysis and where further research to be done. So how this Maharishi concept will be taken forward, building up that concept properly, laying a good foundation system for Maharishi for future taking forward with the pathway can go a really long way with this thing. With these words, I'll again compliment Niti Aayog and WFP for bringing on this compendium and giving me a opportunity to exchange forward. So both in terms of production level, value chain, and our linking of this is the pathway which should take forward. I can assure on behalf of CRISAT, which is an international organization working for the millet, we are working on all these aspects together, bringing out machinery, bringing out products, handholding startups, and we will be partnering for all the initiatives of Niti Aayog, Government of WFP, and Endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. I would now request Chef Manjeet Gill, President, Indian Federation of Culinary Association.
Good afternoon, everyone, and distinguished people on the table and the other participants. You see that we had a fantastic celebration of the International Year of Millet, and I think enough knowledge is shared with the people and with the professionals also about the goodness of millet and what all good qualities of the millet has and how it is good for the environment and all that. Now, the time has come that we have to increase the consumption of millet. The people must start, people must start eating the millet. Even the farmer's problem will also be solved when the crop is fine, when the crop is ready. But ultimately the crop has to be turned into the food on the plate. Then only the consumption will go up. This is where that we chef can play a very important role to increase the consumption, and people will appreciate the food and enjoy the millet on the plate, like this was the food also. And the food security also will be, it can play a very important role because food security is not only good enough if it is not a nutritional food security, because everyone needs a good food which nourish the body, and the mind. So for this, we need to have enough, programs and now onward, so that enough, celebrating the millet. We should have celebrating the millet and culinary events on the millet, where we can, share with the people, because now people understood a lot of scientific understanding of millet, but now it is that what is the goodness of millet by consuming, they enjoy it. So we have to tell them, the people when we talk to the people, they say it's not tasty or it's not. This is what we have to make the millet very tasty on the plate. And some other things also along with the nutrition, we have to tell that when you eat the millet, we have to tell these people and people have to understand, when you eat millet, because it's high in fiber and all that, it means the water consumption also you have to increase. Otherwise, you will not find or comfortable by eating the millet. Even the good fat quality also to be increased because of the high fiber and the absorption and the digestion become much better. So there are a lot of other things we have to now communicate to people and educate the people so that they can accept the millet with more, more happily. And then only the consumption will go up. And the books have also come. There are a lot of books, and we are encouraging in our every forum, in every interaction and conference of the culinary or the chefs conference, national and international both. Last year we had a very large presentation done with the Asian presidents of the chefs, different countries, and given the books also to them, and they shown a lot of interest in the millet. Now, in the millet availability is not much there into the international market. I think where our embassies must help them, the commercial attaches must help them to get the millet into those countries. The idea is to increase the consumption of the millet as much as possible, and the we have to, with a lot of innovations have also done in the millet last 1 year. We have seen the new startups and all that have come in a lot of, products of the millet which are even acceptable to the international and local also. We have, liking towards a lot of international products like the pasta and all those things and the cookies, bread, and that. But somewhere we have to come with some regulation with the government and with the FSSAI and all that, that it is not that you put 2% of millet in the refined flour and call it a millet product. So somewhere the labeling, we have to work on the labeling so that people must get the right product, and incidentally, we must put on our efforts to discover the local dishes, the staple local dishes which are in India or in Africa, because being the indigenous this grain to us, our all Indian dishes, if you discover regionally from all over, even from the tribal, you will find 100% millet is used in the dish. There is no adding any other flour in which we say, okay, now have some whatever reasons that we don't want to have it, but there's no need to in the regional dishes. There's no need to add any other flour or any other thing in their millet dishes. They all are complete by itself and very nutritious. So we must the international dishes will come automatically when the people will understand their own food and their own dishes, and then they will become creative to create the international food also with that. So we must focus more on the, I will say, regional dishes and all that. And we must in the, that also we will tell the people, you see, India is a very diverse climate and the food and we have variety of millets. So people must know that they have to choose the millets from their own region. They will be much more tastier, much more compatible to your own body, and which will be much more tastier. The dishes are more acceptable if you choose. You need not to choose every millet from everywhere. You can have it, but must understand the seasonality also. So all these things now need to be communicated to the people, and there could be a very good collaboration of the chefs or the people who are dealing with the food in the public and with the government, so that there can be long-term policies, the long-term vision we can have, and we can achieve our result. Of course, we are very much focused on the millet now, but we should be focused overall food also with the other foods. So, and my other humble request is that uh, our the scientists or agricultural scientists, let this humble grain remain humble. Let's not do too much of creativity in it or too much genetically changing these things, and so that it should not happen that after 15, 20 years, again we start looking for some other grain which is good for us. So let it be more natural. Millet has those qualities, can grow in a very natural environment, doesn't need so much of pesticides and all that. So let it be more humble and the natural grain as much as possible in the future. I just want to say this.
Thank you very much, sir. So the chef has added a taste to the millets, and with this, I think we have our esteemed jury members also. But because of paucity of time, I think we should go to the release of the compendium. Let us disseminate this compendium of 72 success stories. So please, I will request Honorable Vice Chairman and the experts from World Food Program and the jury members to please have a please.
Okay, could I just add, because of could we club this with any group photograph that's to happen, and then we can return to the program? So let's do this. Is any photographer there? Is there to be a group photograph?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, fine. So why don't we do the release and the group photograph, and then we continue with the program?
Give a big hand of applause to the hard work of collaboration with NITI Aayog and World Food Program.
Right. So is a group photo, should we assemble there? And would
I
anybody-
will group photograph. That is one.
Assemble there itself is easier.
We can
Okay, because it's a rather busy background. That's like,
Okay.
yeah,
That is the background.
okay, fine. Neelam, you're in charge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's figure out you. You want to climb on this?
Let's have the books.
Okay, yes.
No? No, you can have all the people.
But I'm not the MC.
I hope this compendium will help state governments and other organizations in taking forward and strengthening millet value chain. I will now request Ms. Elizabeth, Country Director, World Food Program, for the keynote remarks.
Good morning, everybody, and Honourable Vice Chairman of NITI Aayog, Mr. Suman Berry. Thank you so much to everybody for this work, and the WFP team as well as the NITI Aayog team for putting in the effort to put together this compendium. So many congratulations. I will keep my intervention very short. I just wanted to say that from the World Food Programme's perspective, diversifying the grains that are available in the world is important, particularly at this juncture where there are a record number of people facing both chronic and acute food insecurity, and therefore relying less on the traditional staple foods becomes more important, and also in order to address malnutrition. What I've noticed I've only been in India 1 year, and it coincided with the G20 presidency and also with this International Year of Millets, is that this effort has been also an incredible opportunity to broaden the discussion on nutrition and malnutrition, not only in India but globally. And we've taken a very keen interest at the World Food Programme in procuring other grains and diversifying, as I said, the food basket. And indeed, WFP has been procuring millet in a number of countries, and particularly in Sudan, and having that opportunity in the future potentially to also procure millet from India would be a wonderful opportunity. This compendium is a testament to the position of India as a provider of South-South and triangular cooperation. And at WFP, it's very much my priority that we should step up that collaboration with India to facilitate SSTC, whether it's in the form of missions from different countries, learning from India with regard to millet and other food security and nutrition programs. But as we know, SSTC doesn't only take the form of exchange visits, but also in terms of knowledge transfer, technical transfer. And this compendium is, I think, a good start for that work. And I hope that we can continue, because there are so many more best practices and stories that are out there. So I hope that this is just the beginning of this work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Now I request Mr. Suman K. Beri, Vice Chairman, NITI Aayog, for the closing remarks and the way forward. Over to you, sir.
Firstly, my thanks to those here and those online who have contributed to this effort, and also let me compliment them on a very handsome and reader-friendly document. It's my privilege as the Vice Chairman of NITI Aayog, to have very little to do with the mountains of work that goes on, but somehow to bask in the glory of the finished product. And so I'm very pleased to be here in that regard. I have, and one benefit that I get from this, it's not all ceremonial, is that NITI is involved in so many activities that this is just an excellent learning opportunity. So in the interest of time, let me just react to what I've heard, but also link it up with elements of my past background. So firstly, it's very, it's very interesting that we have a representative from ICRISAT here. I'm an economist and a research economist by background, and amongst economists, ICRISAT, of course, as a member of the CGIAR, is well known for its work on the semi-arid crops, but it also was very well known for what it did in collecting data. And those data, household survey data, were then used partly in collaboration with my former institution, NCAER. And so I just wanted to say that if ICRISAT continues to, as it were, do these kind of household surveys, it would be interesting to get the insights on millets coming out of that. And more broadly, from what has been said already, including what the country director of the WFP had to say, millets span both agriculture, natural agriculture kinds of concerns, but also very much nutrition concerns, because there is this puzzle in India about really what what is behind these unsatisfactory wasting and stunting outcomes. And there's one hypothesis that our member health, Dr. Paul, has advanced, that actually it is in the transition from lactation to solids that traditional feeding practices that may have included nutritious grains like millets, that they've been replaced by other foods, and that there's an important training and there's an important function for under the Poshan Abhiyan of educating mothers, is what I wanted to say, about the introduction of food, and that it may well be that the substitution of millets at that crucial stage is partly responsible for these outcomes. I also, though, wanted to say that our other member, Dr. Ramesh Chand, who has contributed to the volume, has a strong connection with the Indian Council for Agricultural Research, and through them, Niti Aayog has memorandum of understanding with the social science dimension of CJIAR, which is IFPRI, and I was not aware, or I think that some of the issues that have been raised on demand side, on as it were the incentives for production. These are things, if they're not already underway, but they may be, that should also form part of the research agenda, not just with ICRISAT, but also with IFPRI. But what I also am not quite sure what the implication is of the country director's comments on the World Food Programme's interest in millets. I do know that there's a lot of concern, has been concern in India about, and at the WTO, about, as it were, the activities of India in public stockholding. I don't know whether that extends to millets or not, or whether the government of India might welcome, as it were, the World Food Programme as an additional source of demand for millets. I just thought of that in response to your comments. But my final point would really be, how to turn millets from what I might call a woke food to a fashionable food, and how we should enlist, as it were, the giant marketing power of American, well, of all multinationals, whether European or Japanese, or to promote this as, the next health food. I mean, we've seen what has happened to turmeric. We've seen what's happened to avocado. What I know, and this is not only internationally, domestically as well. Unfortunately, India has a high incidence of what they call metabolic syndrome, which includes diabetes as well. I'm told that millets are much better, and of course there's celiac disease, sort of aversion to gluten. So I'm just wondering what part of the entire global ecosystem might wish to stress the health benefits of this. I mean, I'm struck, for example, when children of friends of ours come back from school or from university in the US, I'm not less sure about Europe, how many of them have gone vegan because of a concern for the environment. Is whose responsibility might be to publicize the value of millets on US campuses. I mean, I think that branding this as a superfood, which is what it is in some ways the next frontier. of this kind of work. And the fact that it has all these livelihood benefits and gender benefits is great. But I think really appealing globally to its health benefits, I don't know how much of that happened in the year of millets, but I think that is the next frontier. And finally, let me applaud the imagination of the team in including a chef on the jury and in this whole program, because, as I say, this should not be seen as cod liver oil. This should be seen as something that you welcome because of its sensory appeal. And I think Neela made available to me a recipe book of millets the last time we were at the Pusa Institute, and it occupies a proud place on on our bookshelf. And so we have now started to look for well-packaged, well-presented millets, and I think that that is very much the direction in which to go. I'm afraid I'm out of time, but I don't want to be rude. If we're ready for the vote of thanks, I'll stay for that, but if there's more to the program, I'll excuse myself. Back to the organizers.
This session, I would request Saloni for the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tanu. It was a pleasure to be a part of this initiative and work in collaboration with the United Nations World Food Program. I would like to thank all the participants who have joined us today, both offline as well as online, for the release of this compendium. I hope this compendium continues to keep inspiring the stakeholders in promoting this traditional climate resilient nutritious crop beyond the International Year of Millets as well. And I also hope that we keep on doing more of such stakeholder consultations in order to keep the momentum going. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. I wish you all have a wonderful year 2024. Thank you very much for being with us. Thanks a lot.
All the best.
Thank you.